An opportunity now in Cleveland with a quarterback situation that, honestly, he can come out of and win the job. I think he'll do well. I really do. I think the kid works really hard. I think he loves the game of ball. And when it comes down to it, if you have a guy like that loves the game, obviously grown up around it his whole life, I think he'll be successful.
He has a tremendous luxury to change plays at the line of scrimmage and what he sees. But you got to take into account that this kid has started every game in his high school career. This kid has started every game in his college career but one. He's seen a lot of football. So it's not too many complex defenses that you could throw at him that he hadn't seen. He's seen all of them.
What went down behind closed doors in Miami last week has NFL scouts, GMs, and team owners absolutely stunned. Shedeur Sanders delivered a performance so extraordinary, so flawlessly executed, that even the most seasoned evaluators, who've been doing this for decades, are rethinking everything they thought they knew about the quarterback position. The buzz began on Tuesday. By Friday, it was the talk of the town. And now we finally understand why Deion Sanders has been so confident about his son's future in the NFL. What you're about to hear is bound to change your perspective on the 2025 NFL Draft in ways you can't imagine. But before we dive into what unfolded in that private workout, think about this. How many times have we seen quarterbacks hyped up only for them to fail when the pressure is on? How often do we watch college stars crumble when faced with the NFL's brutal demands? The history of failed quarterback prospects is filled with players who dominated in college but couldn't handle the NFL's challenges. That's exactly what makes what Shedeur Sanders did last week so mind-blowing. This wasn't just another highlight reel against weak college teams. This wasn't some staged social media clip meant to boost his draft stock. This was raw, unfiltered, NFL-level evaluation under immense pressure. Here's what we know. About 3 weeks ago, rumors started circulating in NFL circles that Shedeur had arranged a private workout in Miami. But not just any workout. We're talking about a facility where NFL legends like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers have fine-tuned their skills during the off-season. This is where the greats go to perfect their craft away from the media frenzy and prying eyes. But here's where it gets interesting. Shedeur didn't just invite a handful of position coaches and scouts. He brought in the heavy hitters, the toughest critics, the evaluators who've seen it all and aren't swayed by college stats or famous last names. We're talking about former NFL defensive coordinators who've spent decades plotting against quarterbacks. We're talking about scouts who've assessed everyone from Peyton Manning to Patrick Mahomes. And guess what? They all showed up. Every single one. Inside the facility, the tension is palpable. 15 NFL executives, scouts, and coaches are scattered around the field, clipboards in hand, stopwatches ready. Their expressions are stoic, unfazed. These aren't people who get excited easily. Then, Shedeur steps onto the field. No fanfare, no music, no cameras rolling for social media. Just a young man carrying the weight of a legendary last name and the hopes of an entire generation of Colorado football fans. The silence is deafening. What happens next is where this story takes a mind-blowing turn.
I think he's done a great job. He's a super nice kid. Those guys, the people I work with that interview him and stuff, he's a great guy. He's just got to, he's got to kind of put himself under the radar and work every day, which he seems to be doing.
The first drill seems simple at first. 40-yard throws to stationary targets. It's basic, right? Wrong. These weren't your typical college receivers. They brought in former NFL players, guys who know how to create separation and understand the intricacies of route running at the pro level. These were the kinds of receivers who distinguish good quarterbacks from great ones. Shedeur steps up. The first throw is a bullet, 40 yards in the blink of an eye. Perfect spiral, perfect placement, right in the receiver's stride. The scouts exchange glances, but they're not impressed yet. They've seen good arms before. Then comes throw number 2. Same distance, but this time the receiver is running a comeback route. The difficulty level just escalated. The timing must be flawless, the anticipation at an NFL level. The ball has to be placed perfectly. Shedeur doesn't just complete the pass. He anticipates it, throwing the ball before the receiver even starts his break. The ball arrives at the exact moment the receiver turns around, landing in his chest with such precision that veteran coaches do double takes. One scout even drops his clipboard. But this was just the warm-up. The real test comes when they simulate game situations. Picture this: a mock defense set up with former NFL players, not practice squad guys, but athletes who were starting in the league just 2 years ago. These players know how to read quarterbacks, disguise coverage, and make life miserable for signal callers. The scenario? A 2-minute drill, down by 6, 85 yards to go, no timeouts, pressure that typically breaks college quarterbacks and separates contenders from pretenders. Shedeur walks up to the line. The defense shows one look, but you can tell they're about to rotate into something different. It's a veteran move, meant to create confusion and force bad decisions. The ball is snapped, and as expected, the defense shifts. Lesser quarterbacks would panic, force a throw, or take a sack. But not Shedeur. He steps up in the pocket with the composure of someone who's been doing this for years. His eyes stay focused, scanning the field. Then he spots it. A tiny window opening for half a second. A slot receiver running a dig route, with a linebacker a step slow in coverage. The window is so small that most college quarterbacks wouldn't even try to make the throw. But Shedeur rifles a perfect strike, threading it between two defenders and hitting the receiver in perfect stride. The linebacker, who should have been in coverage, stops mid-step, staring. The safety, rotating over to help, shakes his head in disbelief. The scouts are leaning forward in their seats, realizing they're witnessing something special. But we're just getting started.
He's incredibly accurate.
Yes, he is.
He really understands not only offensive football, but he understands what you're doing as a defense. So he'll pick you apart that way. He processes quickly. Like, all those things to me are big-time attributes. And I just remember last year at this time, Bo Nix falling. People saying, hey, Bo Nix is going to be a second rounder. And Bo Nix is not. By the way, that guy was one of the best quarterbacks.
But now they can't have him. They were the reason for his draft crash. They labeled him cocky, arrogant, and whatever else they could throw at him, hoping to break him down. Yet throughout it all, Shedeur remained calm and composed, never letting their words shake his confidence or change his approach. He stayed focused, never letting their judgments cloud his vision. He knew what he was capable of, and despite their attempts to diminish him, he didn't falter. Instead of cracking under the pressure, he became even more determined to prove them wrong. The doubters couldn't rattle him because, in his mind, he knew that what he showed on that field wasn't a fluke. It was the reality of his talent and future. Now the scouts are left grappling with their own uncertainty. They thought they had Shedeur Sanders figured out, but what they witnessed last week has completely shattered their expectations. Initially, they labeled him as cocky, dismissing him based on preconceived notions and their own biases. They thought they could break him down, but instead Shedeur rose above it all, proving his mettle under the most intense pressure. The same evaluators who once doubted his potential are now quietly worried about what they've just seen. As Shedeur's performance continues to garner attention, they can't help but question their initial assessments. What they saw wasn't just a talented college quarterback. It was a poised, calm, and calculated leader, displaying the traits of a true NFL star. And as Shedeur's confidence grows, so does his game. The scouts are starting to realize they might have underestimated him in ways they didn't fully grasp before. What they once wrote off as cockiness is now seen as unshakable confidence, and his ability to perform under pressure has them rethinking their approach. With each passing day, they're left wondering, how long will it take before they can no longer ignore the quarterback they once dismissed? Have you ever witnessed a quarterback defy the odds like Shedeur Sanders just did? How many times have we seen talent written off simply because of a few assumptions or judgments? How often do we let a player's confidence be mistaken for arrogance only to miss out on their true potential? Could this be the moment when we realize that the traits we often criticize in young athletes might actually be the very ones that lead to greatness? What if Shedeur is exactly what the NFL needs, and we're witnessing the beginning of something historic. Let us know your thoughts. Do you think Shedeur Sanders is the real deal? And how will his rise impact the 2025 NFL Draft?